Hello, my name is Matthew Dalitz and I'm the Editor-in-Chief of The Neuropsychotherapist, and welcome to another weekly report. This week I'm very happy to let you know that the Neuropsychotherapy Institute, an online training platform that we've put together, is now live and ready and waiting for students to come and take part in our courses, which are all designed to run for about an hour each, and they're worth 1 unit of continuing education or professional development points. This has been a collaboration between Dr. Peter Rosso and myself to put together information about the basics of neuropsychotherapy for practitioners who are interested in how neuroscience informs psychotherapy. So please check it out. We believe that it's very reasonably priced, and it's open for psychotherapists of all stripes everywhere across the globe. Now this week let's go down to Sydney, where Richard Hill is going to let us know what he's been discovering this week. Thanks, Richard.
Well, hello everyone, Richard Hill from the Mind Science Institute, bringing you another What's Going On, What's Interesting, What's Happening this week. Now I think a nice paper, Behaviour and Development, talking about prenatal meditation influences infant behaviours. So, prenatal meditation, the purpose of this and the way they measured it was looking at cortisol levels and the lowering of cortisol levels. So that's probably the main point, is this need in our experience for more calmness, more centeredness, more relaxation, and in fact this is where we do our work with mindfulness, and in order to reduce the degree to which the past frightens us and the future scares us. So meditation in this case was the one that was used. They talk about in this paper and give reference to those other things which we find are very good in giving us a sense of inner peace, inner calm, a sense of centering perhaps is what it comes from. There are a number of reasons why we get distressed and what brings us back to calm. Singing is a well-known process for reducing cortisol and increasing things like oxytocin, more of the engaged and socially positive hormones. Audio relaxation tapes are even seen to be effective. Yoga and massage therapy, they're looking at Tiffany Fields and some of her work. So I think the big message, though, is we need to be calm, we need to have reduced and bearable, manageable levels of cortisol in our system. And of course, we've got to have some stresses because we have demands, but these over and excessive and chronic levels of cortisol, we need to reduce those. But it's also the message saying that we do, obviously, in our culture, have a degree of increased distress and concern and worry, which particularly is still being felt by the pregnant woman, by the during gestation. So there's not only issues here of the benefits that we can get from meditation, which can certainly assist the problem, but then also the deeper problem of why we need to use these meditative processes in the first place. But while we're figuring out the those deeper questions, if we use meditation, we use mindfulness practice, we use focused attention, we use things like music, we use things like massage and yoga, those gentle stretching and interpersonal activities, that will down-regulate the existence of cortisol in the system, and it'll no doubt down-regulate a lot of other things as well. We've got other evidence of the impacts of some of those things on anti-inflammatories and so on and so forth. So we also know that by repeated work with those, that there is changes that can occur in the brain and also in the gene expression. So let's do those processes and at the same time try and work out the deeper meanings of why we have these stresses and these concerns. And so in the light of that type of approach of life, looking at what we need to do is we need to discover what we're about, put in processes to give us some reclamation of our sense of self and purpose and calm and centeredness, is a wonderful workshop. We've got the workshop, and my friend Bonnie Badenoch is what I'm talking about here. Bonnie Badenoch in Portland, who is particularly wonderful in her work with trauma, using interpersonal neurobiology and that sense of trying to reintegrate the confused, the chaotic or the rigid systems that get stuck or get out of control in our body, bringing them back into a harmonious center. So she has a final 2014 workshop, September 25 to 27. We'll have a link on the below on this. Now, that will be in the Pacific Northwest, so it'll be in Portland and Vancouver, and she does this wonderful work with her lovely colleague, Coe Scott, who I haven't met yet, but I'm sure he must be a wonderful person. And you'll notice when you go in there, you'll see the opportunity to look in on signing up on their 2015. They have a year-long interpersonal neurobiology immersion course, and there's regular sessions where you get together, and then there's reading and processes and activities you do on the way. So Bonnie Badnock in Portland, if you go and join those things, say good day from Richard. And this wonderful idea that we need to do two things. We need to take actions, meditation, singing, engagement, gentle speaking, yoga, massage, in order to calm ourselves and reduce our cortisols. And then I suggest that we also look deeper as to why we are in these states of distress. And I wonder if there are ways we can change our attitude and our approach to the world. And then, of course, I'm thinking straight away of my curiosity-oriented approach, because I know that does that, but we'll talk more about that at another time. For now, thanks very much. Go out there, be curious, be interested, be fascinated, and let's see what we can create. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Richard, and we'll leave a link below this video on the website. Now, as we normally do, we're going to cross over to California, where Dr. Dave is going to let us know what's been happening on his awesome Shrink Wrap Radio podcast show. Thanks, Dr. Dave.
Hello, Matthew. It's another hot summer day here in Northern California, about an hour north of San Francisco, and my son Jonathan Van Nuys has just returned today. I haven't seen him yet, but he has just returned from Melbourne and Sydney. He was at that big AIDS conference in Melbourne, and I think he was there in more or less your winter, so I'm looking forward to hearing the stories that he has to share. And of course, I'm here once again talking about the latest Shrink Wrap Radio podcast, which in this case is Shrink Wrap Radio episode number 414, and it features a guest that I've had on the show 2 other times. His name is Dr. John C. Robinson. He's become a prominent figure in the men's movement in this country, and he is not only a PhD psychologist, but he also went on to get a degree in divinity, studying with Matthew Fox, who I interviewed on the last podcast, the one just prior to this, about Meister Eckhart. And this is just another one of those little synchronicities, nothing I had really planned out. Well, as I mentioned, John C. Robinson has been a guest on the show before. He was here for episode number 380, in which we discussed his book, The 3 Secrets of Aging. He was also here for episode number 354, What Aging Men Want. And so today we're talking about his book, Bedtime Stories for Elders, What Fairy Tales Can Teach Us About Aging. And I think we all have an inner child within us who is everlastingly intrigued by fairy tales. And not only do they inform us about the challenges of life in childhood and prepare us to deal with those challenges in the context of our culture, but according to Dr. Robinson, there's good wisdom in them as well for the later stages of our development. I think that you don't have to be an older person, though, to enjoy this podcast. So we hope to see you there. Back to you, Matthew.
Well, that's it for this week's little roundup of what's been happening in the world of neuropsychotherapy. Please do check out our Institute of Neuropsychotherapy, the online training course, which we've just gone live. And I'd love your feedback, and let me know what you think. Please try out a course. We think it's reasonably priced, and we look forward to adding a lot more to that platform. So until next week, I'm Matthew Dalitz from The Neuropsychotherapist. Have a great week. Bye-bye.